G'day and welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by Algared and Astropub, aka Paul. Shelley.
Hello.
How are we today on this fine Origin Junkworks Day? I mean Jumpworks Day. How is everyone?
I'm very tired.
Yes.
I'm very tired.
This is about the hump of the show.
Yeah.
We're getting to it. We've got to get to Drake Day. That's the hump. So tomorrow's hump day for us. So we're getting there slowly. Let's just cut it over because this is going to be a very short and sweet episode today. Algared, you can kick it off while you're over there in exile. Just so everyone knows, Algared's got a really sore throat. And that's why me and Paul are sitting over here.
That's why we're
just to be safe. Yeah. Right. 100i, Algared, tell us about it, mate. And we can check them all together if you want. Would that make it easier for you?
Yeah. Yep.
All three. Is this three of them? Yep. So go nuts.
That's the 300. Yeah.
Yep.
This is the Origin version of a starter ship. Personally, it didn't need to exist because we had the 85X and the M50 already down at that level, and overpriced. This is also overpriced. The 100i is probably the best priced of a lot of them because it goes down to roughly the pricing of an Aurora, a Mustang, but it's still $5 more.
Do you think,
Algared?
Sorry, Algared, do you think that means in the future that the 300i series may go up in price to kind of be more relevant with other advanced starters?
Well, they did already push it up when they brought this series out to kind of make room for it. I wouldn't be surprised if they do push it up a little bit more to tie it closer to those, although the current pricing of the 300 does put it nicely with the Avenger and those ships. So I think it is priced to fit better. But yeah.
All right, Paul, do you want to tell me about the three variants and where do you think it's at?
I think the 125A is probably the best option just because it has the more cargo space is if you're going to go for that, but it's still pretty expensive for it.
You mean the 135C is the cargo one?
125C, yeah. The 125A is the cargo one. It has more space for it.
It's confirmed. He's stuffing up. He's tired. Yeah, right, that's fine. Go for it.
I just don't like. I'm going to be quite honest. I don't know the difference between the 100s because I don't care. Like there's such a like starter ship vibe that it's like they're so starter ship but so advanced starter ship that they have that nomad syndrome where they're just kind of in the middle, like they're too expensive to really matter and they don't stand out in any way possible. They're middle of the road.
Literally the same price there as the Avenger. Like it's why would you? Like it just makes no sense. So,
you have more guns with the Avenger.
Yeah.
So
I will agree though the best one is the 135C. And just to go across it for everyone, and Paul, so we can remember, the A is a combat variant, so it's basically got 2 extra pea shooters instead of whatever, and basically the 100i is the stock standard variant. That is where it would be at. It's $5 more than an Aurora or a Mustang. I think that's probably if you want to do the luxury, but it's not that luxurious.
It's $5 more than a Aurora or Mustang starter pack. So if you go to standalone ship, it's $20 more.
That's true.
The one advantage this ship does have over all the other starters, or the Aurora and Mustang, is that you can actually spawn these ones at the platinum blue platforms at mining stations or other places.
That's true.
That's one of the pluses. So, and I think you can do the 85X and the
Pisces.
Pisces there as well.
Yep. Not wrong. So yeah. It's not my thing. You like everyone will tell you, I'm not the biggest fan of Origin because I just want them to do more. So yeah, this is one of those things that it falls through the cracks. And as Algared said, it didn't really need to exist because the 300i was a thing. But yeah, speed of which 300i. Paul, tell me about.
I love I love some of the series. If we want to jump all of them together, the 300i is another one of those things where it's like now you can't even get it as a starter package anymore. So all of these ships are pointless, and they were going to be pointless until Pyro comes out and distance becomes an issue because that's really where they're going to shine is the ability to be a small, decently armed ship with range. The 325A may be a little bit better, but like the 300 is just kind of this. It's like so bland and generic. It just ends up being pointless.
Can I give you a little bit of Execute lore here? This is the only Origin ship I've ever owned. My original Kickstarter package was the Bounty Hunter package, and that's the ship that came. And I
325A.
quickly got rid of it and turned it into a Constellation. But that was
It-
the that was the ship. That's the only Origin ship I've ever owned.
It-
So yeah.
It was also one of the first 5 ships.
Yep.
I do believe.
Yep. Well, that's
I mean,
that's
my-
how I got it on Kickstarter.
Well,
Algared, connecting dots. Yeah, good job.
So the 300 is a decent ship, but and it's decent for its price only because it is basically basically a cheaper version of the Gladius,
Mm.
and it's a little bit bigger than the Gladius, but it also has its own bed. So
Yep.
the only ships that really I think stand out in the series is the 350R because of racing. But if you
Yep.
want a better racing ship, it exists. And the 315P.
Yep.
The 325A is just not really a good fighter right now. But the 315P has tractor beam, so you can use it for multiple different purposes. If you need to load other ships or if you need to pull stuff around, it's got a tractor beam, and it's got a large cargo bay of about 15, or not 15, 12 SEU of cargo, which makes it better than the Avenger.
This
So,
is the
but it doesn't have as
this is the only Origin ship I can get behind at all. The only one.
Yeah. It's also fast. It's fast as fuck, boy.
Yeah.
It is a speedy thing and a very tiny signature. It's like if you wanted to like do I haven't done these in a while, but I'm gonna start pulling them up again, which is I do smuggling guides, and the 315P is my hands down the best starting smuggling ship in the game.
You know those
Because it is fast, it has cargo space, and you can hook it up with stealth, so you can have nice and low signatures. So
you know those Mexican boats that go across the border to Florida and stuff, the drug running boats, like those super speedy spud boats. It reminds me of that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is your cartel drug smuggling boat of the 30th century.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but it's also good. It's just a good utility like crafts as well because it's the smallest ship with a tractor beam.
absolutely.
I don't think there's a single smaller ship that has it.
Nope.
So
this is it, and that's why I can get behind it because it's just got this utility that the others don't have. So yeah, no, that's the same. Algared, is there anything you want to add to this, or can we move on?
No, move on.
Yeah, move on. All right, you can do the next one, man. What's the next one? Oh, 400. Good choice. Tell me about the
400.
ugly duckling.
The ugly duckling.
Yeah.
Medium ship masquerading as a large ship.
Mm-hmm.
The lore kind of indicates that the Explorer built in the same vein as the Aquila and 600i, which just doesn't seem to. No, that's wrong ship. That's Drake. It is an Explorer. It is kind of the same vein as a Connie, but it doesn't really have a vehicle, a solid vehicle bay. Its cargo's small. The big advantage it's got is the two rooms in the entrance, which are climate controlled.
Yep. That's its kind of claim to fame at the moment, isn't it? Because it's the only ship that's kind of got that at all at the moment, and that shows future gameplay for other ships. Kind of like when the Nautilus got the 2 size 7 guns. It's kind of the same thing. We're expecting other ships to have that down the road, so so you can transport cargo in a certain way, and only one that's got it right now. What you said about the vehicle bay is dead on too. Like you can't even get a cyclone into this properly. It struggles and stuff like that. So everything you said is spot on. Medium ship masquerading. It's a large, but it's got the features of a medium. Yeah, and most of it's just because it's really elongated and long. Paul,
the one thing I do like about it though is it's got that rear turret, that's kind of more better for firing backwards. And that really, this ship is meant to run away.
Well, it's like all Origin ships; it's highly defended. They're essentially flying safe rooms, aren't they? So Paul, do you want to tell us a little about that X1 bay thing? And do you think that's a really good thing or bad thing, or is it a drawback or a positive, or anything else you want to add to this ship? Actually,
not really. I mean, the one problem it has is that its cargo bay isn't very good for what it wants to do. It can't explore, and the one thing you can explore with is the X1, which doesn't exist.
Yep.
It will exist in a couple months from now, hopefully. But like, you also have to buy it separately. Like 890, you get the 85X for free, and the Carrack you get the
C8
the
and
piece.
the Ursa for free, and the Connie Aquila you get the Ursa
Ursa,
and a P72
P2 for free.
If you go up to a luxury version, the Phoenix, you get a Lynx and a P72 for free. So
Look, I'll say something positive about it. It is one of the best laid out Origin ships at the moment, and like this, if you're worried about the 600i or how it is now, and with the rework, this is getting closer to what you want luxury ships to be. But everything these gentlemen have said is absolutely on point. It is essentially a tourist ship. It is not an explorer. It is touring is going where other people have gone before. It's going there in safety. Again, flying safe room. Right, move on to the next one. What do we got here? 600i and 600i touring. All right, Paul, tell me about the Astropub.
It is where the Astropub is. This is probably
now, Paulie, that's a definite like. Cause we don't use 600i for I keep telling you that.
Don't tell the old man.
Yeah, say no.
Whatever you do, don't tell the old man.
Paul's working as a freelance, and that's his escape. His escape.
That's my scab ship right there. So the 600i Explorer is probably the best Origin ship that exists. Just hands down. It has the most utility for its prices. It's insane. $475 for what it gives you, especially it's going to give you in its rework. The rework is going to be much better than it is currently. Right now, it's okay. It gives you decent cargo bay, and it has some decent its weapons are pretty nuts. I'm still like stuck on the old school days when these things were called the Orcas, when they because they were killer whales, because they could just wreck anyone's day with the firepower you bring, because a lot of it is pilot controlled, and so as a result you just have a shit ton of, I think it's like 3 size 5s or 4s. It's pretty nuts the kind of firepower this thing has.
3 size 5s.
I think you need to go talk to Piss Poor Pete. So because I've physically seen Piss Poor Pete fight one of these in 100i and he smashed it.
Because it's not designed to fight 100.
Yeah, but it just can't turn.
It can eat a Connie for breakfast. It can turn a.
But the Merlin would the Merlin would end it.
But the point being is that it's got a lot of flexibility, and especially with the rework, because this one specifically with the rework we're talking about, like value, is going to get a space for a Nova tank, and also a like medical bay, hands down. This wins.
Let me ask you this before we pass it on to Algared. What about the Carrack though? It's also an Explorer, and by the time I know this comes with the
how much is the Carrack?
Let me finish. So I know this comes with a G12 now, and the other one comes with a Pisces and an Ursa. But like, if you take the prices, the Perseus off, it's not that far away now, right? And so basically, in my book, for the little bit extra, I think you're better to jump to the Carrack, because they also both land on the same size pad. You know, they're both large, and they both land in exactly the same hangar.
But this is always going to be cheaper than the Carrack. And it's smaller profile. Like when you're talking about like turning and all that kind of stuff, when this thing gets its overhaul, it'll probably end up being a better combat ship than the Carrack as well. So like the reality is the Explorer, like the one thing ironically, this is the Origin ship that most matches a Drake ship, because it actually is a jack of all trades, master of none.
It's still the flying safe room thing though, but that's an Origin staple, being over defended. You know, that's what they're there for, to protect the occupant. All right, Algared, what do you think about what I said about the Carrack, and then what do you feel about this ship?
If you take certainly when you're looking at the Explorer, if you take the Ursa and P70P and the C8X off the Carrack, that brings your price down by
about $100,
$80.
Yeah.
But then when you take so you really only got to reduce the price of a Carrack by $50 when you compare it to the 600 touring, because you'd have to take the G12 out of it as well. So the G12 does come with a touring. That's probably a big bonus. So that's, take $50 off that. That gives you a rough idea of what the actual price of this is. With the rework, it's getting a mid bay. That's massive. That's a huge up to that ship. That puts it on par with a Carrack and a 899. They're the only ones with a better. The only other two ships we've currently got with a good mid bay.
All
I
right.
don't count the.
I got two
Cat
things to
hire.
I got two things to point out on this one that is a bit
Yep.
weird. In game, the touring costs more than the explorer, but the explorer out of game costs more.
Yep.
Right.
Doesn't make sense.
And the last thing I want to
I
point
think
out is there's a skin coming
that's
for this for best in show. So it is
Yes.
probably the coolest looking one of all the best in show skins. If you would like to lock in one of those CC skins, but you don't have the money to buy this ship, you can get a CCU. So a CCU to it will lock in that you can apply it at a later date, and it will apply that skin to said ship. So yeah, Paul, you were going to say?
The in-game thing. Look, we do know they're doing an economy balance now, so they'll likely change.
Fingers
So-
crossed. But again, outside prices should be not reflecting inside prices, and that's what disturbs me. But we should be not letting the marketing team affect the in-game pricing, and it's done that 3 times already, and I don't agree with it.
You would expect the exploration version to be more expensive than the touring version.
Well, let's give the example then of the
Has
Prowler
more.
versus the Hoplite. The designers had the Prowler cheaper than the Hoplite, and it's now more expensive. So that's the marketing team affecting in-game pricing, and that should not be a thing. Right.
I would expect normally an explorer to be more expensive than a neutral. So I think that the actual pricing should be reflecting in game.
Yeah.
We don't know
Because
what
there's more
we
stuff.
don't know what the components are or any of the makeup. Again, it's a design thing. It shouldn't be marketing, and that's my issue. 85X Algared, is this irrelevant or is it literally just the snub for another thing?
Originally, it was supposed to be a snub for an 890 jump. When it came out, it had a second seat, a jump drive, or quantum drive, and ability to do jump drive, which was insane. It really is it really is 100i. It really is the original starter ship, and that's why I say the 100 series did not need to exist.
Agreed. They should have just modified this into like 2 other versions and called it a day.
With cargo.
185.
Yeah, like a cargo and a combat version done. And the really cool part of that is it would have worked on its mothership, the 890 jump. So yeah.
The 85, the 85A and the 85C instead of the 85X.
I think the only people that would really be wanting to buy this is to get that second one for your 890 jump. But again, it's so cheap, earn it in game. Like, yeah, it's a pass for almost 99% of people. Right. Who wants to take this one? Paul, you want to take this one?
Sure. Old man has me kidnapped here. Please send help. Tell the authorities.
You got a good bar and a good kitchen, so you can cook or mix.
Gosh, what is this? I don't really know what to say other than it's a luxury version of the Ben Merchman.
Yep.
It's a Polaris, but luxury.
Do you want me to say something? Because I've actually got positive things to say
Go
about
for
it, right? So I can be positive and neutral about ships, but basically, or negative. But in this case, I actually think this shows some of the gameplay that Origin can go into. So like the bistro and the restaurant and stuff like that, I think that's all signs of other ships to come from Origin. The one detrimental thing, but also another ship could come out of it, is the atrium. You know, we could literally have more party ships, or like a what do you call that? Like a party boat. Literally, it's the closest thing we have to a party boat. But that atrium is shockingly bad. They talk about the 600i needing a rework. I think this needs one as well. And I don't know how you would do it, because I think they've just stuffed. There is a lot of corridors in this ship that kind of don't need to be there, or they feel too big, because there's a whole crew thing, and then you get up top where some of the more luxurious rooms are, and they feel shoved in. It's almost like they built the ship from the bottom up and got to the top and then realized they didn't have enough room. That's what it feels like to me. And it's that older same problem with the 600i, essentially. Like, they built it too soon and they didn't know what luxury it was. But you can look as they've built the ships and they move along, the last one being the 400i, and it's just got a much better luxurious feel. So I hope they do go back to this eventually. But being the size that it is, Algared, I think you'd say it's probably going to be a while till they look at it again.
It's going to be a while. Definitely going to be a while.
Is there anything you want to add to that?
Look, I really like the 890 jump. It has problems in that There's stuff that you can see they want to do, but it can't do. But at the moment, it works as a very nice carrier for 3 arrows. One of the advantages that really is the hallmark of Origin, where they're going bigger, is their selling point that this ship uses, for its size, is the fastest of its size. So Origin are built for speed. But the other thing that people often forget is Origin are more automated than most other ships, and so they use less crew. So the crew complement that you need to run this ship is less than
3.
other ships of its size.
Yeah.
And it is the only ship in game with a battle bridge.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah.
We could say
I mean,
for
it's
now,
not good.
but we don't know, do we?
That's right.
They definitely have to update the battle bridge a little bit because they can give that Tavaran, and Mirai sort of like shields or like vision, so you can actually see what you're doing. But
I actually would
Like,
like
yeah,
that
it's-
on the shield on the hangar. I'd like that too. So like as the ship comes up, it kind of comes up through an air shield. I'd like that.
Yeah.
I think we will see little touches like that eventually too. But what Algared said too is this is a capital ship, and that engine he speaks of is bespoke to this ship. And that's essentially what makes it a capital. All right.
Oh, it's all size. It's like a Banu. That's a big
Yeah,
ship.
that is exactly right. It is pretty much on par with the Banu Merchantman for size.
Mhm.
Right. The G12
Right.
series. Oh, you got something else to say? Yeah, go ahead.
I'd say it's a luxury Banu Merchantman and or a Polaris, a luxury Polaris. It's the same. As much as people don't want to admit it, it's just a Polaris.
Yeah.
Like people want. I just want a civilian version of the Polaris.
That's it.
Yeah, that would be.
It's
it.
right here.
Yeah.
You just don't like the luxury stuff. That's all.
Yeah. I also the biggest problem also with a ship that big, unfortunately, is it doesn't come with LTI because it's just under $1,000. So in a weird way, I'd rather it have $51 of extra value. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Or put it this way: if they added the other 85X to it, then they could have made it over $1,000.
Yeah, and I do like the styling in terms of those luxury areas where the passengers go and the the styling for where the crew goes. So the crew don't have the wood type paneling on the floor, whereas the luxury area does. So I like that styling.
Yeah.
But like you said, X, you can see there's more gameplay in this. The kitchen in this is monstrous. If it's just for show, that's an absolute waste of space.
Shows where
But the way
cooking
it's made,
as a professional go and stuff like that.
yeah.
And
it ties with the restaurant. If there's none of that gameplay, that's wasted space.
Yep.
If there's no mixologist type thing where you can actually run and do that, the bar's wasted space.
Yeah, we've only seen the simple ships from Origin. Like there's a whole commercial line, because literally Origin was right between high industrial and commercial. Well, where are all the commercial ships for this thing? There's not a single one. So even if you're not into the 890 jump, realize what it points towards for the rest of the game. All right, let's move on. Let's have a look at the G12, Algared. All 3 of them. Tell us about them, and where do you think it's at?
Well, the G12 come if you want a G12 and you're looking at thinking of buying an Origin ship, 600 Explorer gets you a G12.
Yes, it does.
It's when it first came out, I thought, awesome. This is going to be smaller than a Ursa. It's going to be, but no, it's wider than an Ursa. It's almost as big, long as an Ursa. It only has 2 crew.
It's faster though, isn't it? It is faster though. Yeah.
I would say it's faster. I can't. I don't really take it out because
And I think the other really big one that you and I have talked about a few times is the cab. It's an enclosed cab, so unlike the Cyclone, it essentially can go onto the planets, and it's essentially the speed of the Cyclone, but unfortunately the size of the Ursa, and that's the compromise.
I do really like the racing variant because of the skin, and it makes sense for the wide base because the wide base gives more stability with the speed. Yeah, that's.
And much like the X1 we're going to talk about in a minute, this is due soon too, isn't it? So, yeah,
soonish.
Which one do you think? So you reckon the racing variant's where it's at?
Well, I like the racing. I like the racing variant.
Yep,
looks nice. I can't remember the other racing variants. Is there a?
So for
The
me,
Scout variant.
it's the G12. It comes with a turret and it comes with cargo, and that's the default variant is the one where it's at for me. I can't get behind the AA variant, especially now with things like the Storm that have come along and stuff like that. They've just killed it. And the racing variant, well, I'm just not into racing, and if I was going to get something like this, I'd be more into the Cyclone. The RN with the scanners on it. Like that thing is at the moment, until another vehicle comes along with scanning, that is literally where it's at. And I don't think anything right now can match the Cyclone for speed. If they put scanning on a bike, sign me up. That thing will be amazing. But yeah, Paul, your thoughts on the G12 and which one do you think's the one to buy if you were going to buy one?
I mean, I wouldn't buy any of them, but I think it's kind of like the problem with a lot of Origin vehicles and ships is that there's just no place for them. Yeah. And then CIG constantly basically develops more specific or better general vehicles that always that Origin always gets outclassed.
But the thing that gets me though, Paul, is this came out after the Ursa in terms of design. It's more expensive than an Ursa, and yet it has less capabilities than an Ursa. Like, why would you buy this? Seriously, the only reason you should have it is if it's in your ship as a bonus buy.
I mean, it's
all Origin ships at the moment. That's why they're out, because there's just not much to them, and they have to get them out first so they can bring the better ones out behind them. That's what it feels like to me. But
so, I think the problem with Origin is that the CIG is selling them as luxury vehicles. And the idea of luxury in a video game doesn't make any sense until you have like touring gameplay where you can actually be hired by someone to go and take them around to specific locations. Until we have those gameplay, we don't know what because you probably will need like a G12 for those sorts of experiences, because they won't ride in an Ursa, unless it's the Lynx. The ladder Lynx, but Lynx is more expensive. It's like $15 more expensive than this. So, but this is like instead of it being a more expensive Ursa, this is a budget Lynx. Is what it is. And
actually,
I mean, if I were,
can you check the price on the Lynx, Herod? Because I got a feeling it's the same. I am doing that in my brain. I'm going. I think it's 60.
Yeah, I thought
it was 75.
I could be wrong. I'll admit I'm wrong if I'm wrong, but I think they're the same. But you're not wrong.
They're the same.
You're not. I'm literally thinking about you in the future, how you do your tour videos. Is you'll be going around in a ship, literally taking people on tours in the ship, and then you'll transfer off into like a Lynx or an Ursa or something, and then there'll be the tour bus and all that. Like I can see you doing all that, Paul. So it's there,
not just
but
me,
so far away.
Yeah,
it's just so far away. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah,
the Lynx is $60.
There we go.
So it's the same price.
Same price.
Okay.
Why would you get it? Why would you get a G12 over a Lynx?
The guns and the speed.
Speed. Yeah, because I was gonna say the real thing. This is designed to be faster than an Ursa, but slower than a Cyclone. That's it.
Yep.
And that's the only other thing it's designed to do, which is weird. It's like why would you? And you wouldn't, and you don't have to wear a suit. So I guess there's that aspect too. But
we try, like when we look at this stuff, right? And you're the same, Paul. Like when we look at the stuff, we try to give every positive thing we can and every negative thing we can, right? And that's the only way you can do it. To be fair, you've got to love and hate on every single one of them equally. Otherwise, you just can't get the right thing out of it.
The problem is like I like the designs. They're cool designs. They remind me very much of like a lot of those ideas that NASA's had for Martian rovers, like full combined, and they got like these unique sort of like blended like dune buggy racer style with that sort of like NASA aesthetic style. It was great. The problem is like when it comes to gameplay aspects, I can't recommend it. And maybe unless you like it, or maybe if it fits a very specific niche. But get it in game, all ground vehicles. It's not worth it.
Or if you really want to back support the game, because that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day, doesn't it? Oh, I opened the wrong thing. Sorry.
But by the way, the Lynx also has a turret.
Yes,
it does, but I don't think it has the same. Is it the same 2 size 3s as the Ursa?
No.
Say 2 size. Apparently, it says same turret, two mounted. M3A, so it looks like size 1s.
Size 1s.
They both got size 1s.
Whatever it is.
Vehicle size
like on the
Vehicle
I'm going on a
guns.
stats page,
Vehicle
so-
guns are almost always size 1 because that's all they
Mhm.
hold. Right, the M50. Racing. It's a racing X85X. That's kind of where I see
Yeah.
it. And it goes
Origins
fast.
apologies to the M50R or 3.
Yeah, essentially.
I can tell you based off of my discussion with the people I know who do racing, the M50 is not the best racer right now because it's just doesn't have the same kind of value that some of the more modern racers do. It used to be the best one, but yeah. I mean, it's a very specific ship. If you like racing, race it. I know people who use it for combat because it is incredibly annoying. This thing is built to zoom and boom. It'll come in, shoot at you, and just fly away. And by the time you actually get a chance to like turn and catch on it, it's already gone. It's already 400 kilometers away from you, and you have to, or two kilometers away from you. You got to try to catch them. So it's designed as a gnat to be very annoying. You don't kill anything with it, but it can be very annoying.
I always thought it'd be a good A to B ship, but I think that's kind of been replaced for the Herald now for me because you can just drag race in a line. But yeah, we'll see. Algared, is it a miss?
Interestingly, always a miss. It's a fighter. But when it first came out, this was the ship that was supposed to be it replacing the Advocacy's Avenger.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
No, they backtracked. Even in lore, they backtracked that real quick.
It has, less weapons, less, it's got speed. That was it.
Good to know Dave Haddock can suck on the copium gas canister like the rest of us. All right.
Well, I think the original idea was to be a cool kind of like, how in the US we've got some like the Charger replaced some of the old police vehicles, like they're using vehicles like modern muscle cars in America as police vehicles because they're like, we need to catch these street racers, and that was what they kind of the idea behind.
And that was the idea.
The M50.
It was an interceptor rather than anything else.
Right. The X1's
Paul's favorite bike.
Tell us about the bike.
The X1. So, okay, let me explain to you the X1. The X1, the reason why the CIG hasn't released the X1 until now is because everything in the game runs on X1s. So there's no actual like background. There's no actual, the Star engine runs on X1s. It's just tiny X1s running around in circles. The entirety of CIG offices is just real life X1s that are being powered. That's the only reason why CIG took how long? 6 years, 5 years
it's
for
ridiculous.
them.
It's the longest
to actually
bike.
release a tiny bike that took them 3 months to make.
Didn't have time to
I don't
make
know.
it. Again, it was slipped in when they needed it. That's what all the vehicles were. They just went through and did them when they had a space there. So
I mean, it's inexcusable in my mind. But that's a completely different topic. Do I think the X1 is actually good? No, it's a miss. It's like it's a ground vehicle, just like anything else. It might have a.
I just want to ask.
Decent.
But please let me ask. Just like the G12, do you think its gimmick might be the enclosed cab? From what I've seen in the kind of white box that they've shown off, it really looks like it might have a closed cab. I know it looks like the legs might be open, but it really is like you are sitting in a chair and you don't lean forward like you do on other bikes. You like sit back and it's almost like you're in a car, not on a bike. And I'm wondering, Algared and I have talked about this a few times. I just want to kind of get out of you do you think it's a closed cab potentially?
It could be. Technically, it's an open top racer, which means that it doesn't have a closed cab. I think really what its gimmick is that it's going to be the non-alien Nox is what it's going to be. So I think wherever the Nox is down on, like if it's got good speed, then this is going to have good maneuverability and speed.
So it's essentially just another race bike then.
Yeah,
like a street race.
It's one of those. Yeah, but I can still see it could definitely have closed canopy. If it can have a closed canopy, I could see it because you can see it in some of the designs. And eventually, if it has closed canopy, then it'll make it a lot more valuable as a transport.
It'll make excellent for 400i.
Yeah.
So just real quick before I'll let Algared speak, I'm going to take the opportunity to pimp something that we did. I did the first ever short for the channel ever. And in that, I actually talk about a bike that no one else knows about. And it only goes for 27 seconds, but there's literally a bike coming from Mirai. I'll leave it at that.
Hmm.
And I'll tell you what
Okay.
the name is as well. Anyway, Algared, your thoughts?
It's $50 at that price. I could get an Ursa.
I think it's 40 actually.
Um,
That one's 40. This
okay.
one, that's the expensive one. So they're $5.
alright.
The racing one's
Right,
45.
But $40, that is still more expensive than an Aurora or a Mustang. And that's
Yeah.
the problem with most of the vehicles. They're priced. Often they don't have a capability to go into space or travel between planets, and yet they're priced at the same price as the starter ships. That's insane. That just doesn't make sense. So that's my big problem with pretty much all vehicles.
Yeah.
Is that pricing over, and
You know-
so I can't get behind any of them just because of that.
I don't
They're
disagree
cool.
with
Yeah,
you at
sure.
all.
But
That's exactly it, Algared, in a nutshell. And unfortunately, Origin seems to suffer from that a lot. They just don't have the functionality to go with their price. I want to be able to finally go, I've bought an Origin ship. It's the only manufacturer I don't own a ship for. As I said earlier, I did own one, but I got rid of it. They just don't do enough. And they have the highest price tag of any ship in the game, but they just don't have the gameplay to go with it. And that's my take on Origin. I think lastly, we've got a CCU. Now, there's two options here. You can take a Defender or you can take a Terrapin and go to the 400i, and it is a $10 CCU that saves you $20. It's not terrible for the 400i. I think it's one of the first discounted ones we've ever seen for the 400i. I might be mistaken there. That's the last one. I've not remembered seeing one in a while. With that, though, that is Origin Day. Is there anything you guys want to add about Origin? There was no skins. Other than that best in show one for the 400 for the 600i, there won't be any.
Old Man Hurston wants a skin for the 890 jump.
Yeah, he wants it to be Uwu and Fairy, like he wants big cat ears on.
No, he doesn't. No, that's what you want. That's what you want.
Can you imagine that? Like the what was that Star Wars the it was the woolly car thing from that's Dumb and Dumber. But you imagine that from Dumb and Dumber, but it's on an 890 jump. Hell yes. And seriously, do you know what you do for Pirate Day next year? If anyone from CGI is watching, all the Origin skins, but Pirate. I shit you not, they would sell like hotcakes because it's just a complete juxtaposition. And if you were an Origin owner and you do not think at some point your ship is not going to be stolen and used by pirates, you were insane.
You're an idiot.
Yeah. Or if you're a pirate and you haven't looked at Origin, why not?
Yeah.
Like, look, the 315P is a freaking amazing smuggler and pirate assisted ship because you could just start stealing stuff off of Hull Seas and tossing them into anything you want without a PTV or without an SRV or
it's the last thing they expect you to be in as well,
Yeah.
You're going to be able to get closer to your enemies because they're not going to expect an 890 jump to be pirates.
By the same token, Algared, do you reckon we should see some kind of upmarket Drake skins? I don't know what you'd be like. So instead of plastic, maybe they're tinfoil or aluminium. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like just a slightly up
blue.
Sorry,
we got the blue. We've got the blue.
But you know what I mean? Like how do you take the Origin materials and could you apply that to a Drake ship? I'm just wondering if maybe there's skin there.
The Drake Gold, I think it's there. You can definitely have it. The Drake Gold would just be a luxury ship.
The Drake doubloon.
Yes, the Cutlass Gold. The Cutlass Gold.
Yeah.
It's Drake's version of luxury, so it's shag carpet. It's like 1970s, but not like 1970s, like 1970s, but in 2023. So it's like 40-year-old, 50-year-old shag carpet.
This goes purple party boat version.
Yeah.
Of the
exactly. It's got to make you like you walk in, you got to feel sticky. Like that's right there.
All right. So in the comments below, I'd like to know: do you share my apprehension about Origin? Do you think that we've got some more ships to come that hopefully breathe some life back into Origin? Algared, what would you like to hear in the comments below?
Yeah. There's not much to say. Like, seriously, most of the ships are overpriced for what they get.
Yeah.
They're lovely ships, but they're overpriced. And
I think we'll get the day in the sun, though. And that's what I'm hoping for. And I want to see if people think the same eventually.
what things would you like to see the 890 be able to do with all its possibilities of versatility, but none?
And which Uwu skin do you think Algared should get for his 8 jump? Paul, what would you like to hear from people below?
I would like 2 things. Number one, I want you to tell me what ships do you think that Origin could make that would give it some as a manufacturer would make sense with this manufacturer, but also give it more versatility. Like for instance, we've talked about for many years here on the Inforunners, medical ships by Drake as kind of like high-end plastic surgery or like some very valuable medical things. We already have these very basic stuff.
He said Drake.
A medical version.
He said Drake, but he meant Origin.
I meant Origin.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we were talking about Drake. And
you went high-end Drake ships.
Yeah, Drake's.
That's fine. I know what you meant.
High-end Origin ships, like high-end like medical ships for Origin. So maybe stuff like that. What kind of commercial would you like to see the 600i cargo variant, which was originally supposed to be a 600i? It was supposed to be a cargo ship in lore. And also, of course, how would you make the current ships better? What would you do to make the current ships have a position in the game beyond just middle of the road and not worth your money unless you really like the aesthetics?
Yeah.
So
and I'm sure we'll see Stem Citizen, Griffin Gaming, and all the Soul Citizens folks that lob hate at me whenever we have these debates over there at Soul Citizens in the comments below. But I want to hear some positives. Like, what do you think that's going to be? So yeah. All right. With that, then he's been Algared. He's been Astropub, and I always forget things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. Yes, I've been Execute.
We're all tired.
We're tired.
We're all tired.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow for Drake Day. Right. Bye.
My favorite day.